of a young girl who was trafficked, rescued, and then faced something most people never think about: the long, painful road to healing. Most of us saw The Sound of Freedom and felt that outrage, but Still Hope asks the next question: what happens after the rescue? Because saving a child is just the beginning. Rebuilding their life, restoring their innocence, helping them find peace after unimaginable trauma. That's the battle that comes next. Stream Still Hope on Angel today. Share it with your friends and family. Let's make sure these children's stories are told so healing, hope, and change can follow.
Hey guys and gals, I'm David Zere. You're watching Breaking Point on Real America's Voice News. It's been a really exciting time. I've been doing a lot of traveling. Been in 20 states since about Christmas time. In D.C. a lot, following what's going on in the Pentagon, getting to participate in the press briefings, and these incredible House and Senate Armed Services Committee meetings. The new military budget is big. It's $1.5 trillion. But Trump wants to improve the living standards for our soldiers and the base housing. I remember when I was a kid, I think I went to Aberdeen Proving Grounds and a few other bases, and I couldn't believe the living conditions for our troops. Now, that was kind of like just when Reagan took office, and I know things got a little better, but our troops deserve, to be treated well and to be able to raise families and not be on like food stamp status. That's for sure, because they're the first to the fight, and we get to go to the mall in air conditioning and go shopping. The House is completely unhinged. I thought the Senate Armed Services Committee hearings with SecWar Pete Hegseth and Joint Chairman General Kane handled some really well, especially Hegseth. He was really good. It's amazing because even Blumenthal, who lied about his combat service in the military in Vietnam, I think he knows he can't get away with too much. He was pretty nice, which was a first, and they couldn't, they wanted to nail Pete Hegseth on all these things. And I just think that he's popular with the troops. I think they're focused on the mission. There's a lot going on. Now, as of the taping of the show, it's Thursday night here in New York. And I may or may not be at the Pentagon tomorrow morning if there's a briefing, or next week. But stay tuned and watch Real America's Voice News. Make sure you tune into that if there is one. But I wanted to talk about 35 veterans groups nationwide urged Congress on Wednesday to pass legislation requiring the Department of Veterans Affairs to get people off of certain psychiatric medications. I interviewed John Spagnola down at CPAC, and he invited me. I couldn't make the press conference, but I'm going to be bringing you more about this issue because there were I think 19 co-sponsors in Congress. It's a bipartisan issue. Our troops need help, and the risk of suicide and drug dependency and all that is up, and these guys deserve a better way. But I want to thank you for joining us today. And I was at the Defense Logistics Agency, how we get our fuel to our troops and supplies down in Arlington, Virginia. Check it out.
David Zere on the ground in Washington, D.C. for Real America's Voice News. We're at the Defense Logistics Agency Energy Worldwide Conference. They're an arm of the Department of War, and $50 billion in goods and fuel and repair parts have to get to our troops. So we're going to be covering this on the ground, really important stuff. And then we're on our way over to the Pentagon for the new fiscal year 2027. Department of War budget exceeding $1 trillion. We're going to be bringing you all of the best coverage all day. And then we're over to Capitol Hill for the Republican Study Committee, where about 80 congressmen will gather. We're going to get some great interviews with members of Congress and House leadership. So stay tuned. Download the Real America's Voice News app today. At the Defense Logistics Agency Energy Worldwide Conference, Arlington, Virginia, and we're trying to bring our audience some perspective on the companies that make our military work, are getting fueling operations and other across the globe. And we have with us Scott Freeman from the Freeman Holdings Group, Kansas City. How are you?
I'm good, thank you.
Thank you for taking the time. We're trying to inform our audience on, how things work in the field and getting stuff to our troops. And a really important role. Tell us about what you do.
Yeah, so we are a DLA contractor, have been for 40 plus years. We own a network of FBOs, fixed base operations. So we do servicing, fueling primarily, but other services as well for military aircraft, commercial, general aviation. But because we are a DLA contractor, we've been doing it for 40 plus years, as I said, and we support those guys on the ground for various missions.
So specifically, what do? Do you supply the fuel? Do you get it to different locations? What do you do?
Yeah, so we supply the fuel through a DLA contract, interplane contract, and so we're based in 24 locations across the United States, and we support those primarily with fuel, but of course de-icing and some other components.
Okay, does that include JP5? Is that diesel?
It's Jet A. Yeah, Jet A fuel.
Oh, okay, great. And are you international?
We are not international. We're CONUS only.
Okay, so you would supply it to U.S. military bases, say?
No, so they come to our FBOs, and we have that DLA contract, which gives us the ability to do end-to-wing fueling for those guys. It's kind of a pre-negotiated price, and so we support them at various locations across the U.S.
So in the last year or so, Trump signed defense acquisition executive orders, getting stuff at speed and scale to our warfighters. And I've seen like a shift in the Pentagon, trying to move away from bureaucracy a little bit and private partnerships. And have you seen that in play? And also, what about us operating on a wartime footing right?
Yeah, well, I think that, it's been easier to get contracts kind of move through quicker. And I think, anytime we're in a wartime event like this, the op tempo for these guys picks up pretty dramatically. Again, we're training a lot of these guys in the CONUS in the United States here that then go on in a theater and perform those tasks over there. So it's streamlined. It's been much quicker.
And why are you an exhibitor at the DLA Energy Worldwide Conference? Who would come to you to look for services?
Yeah, so we get an opportunity here to meet with our contracting officer and various individuals inside the military themselves, and so we're here to support them and also kind of be ahead of the fight, if you will, have pre-positioned fuel and just stay ahead of these kind of wartime events.
All right, Scott Freeman, Freeman Holdings Group. Where can our viewers find out more about your company?
FreemanHoldingsGroup.com.
Thank you so much.
Thanks, sir.
Defense Logistics Agency, Energy Worldwide, Arlington, Virginia. On the ground here at Maytag Aircraft, Jake Kalua. You guys are based in Colorado Springs, right?
That's right, yes. We're based out of Colorado Springs. We've been part of Colorado Springs for the last 76 years.
Tell us about what you do, because we want our audience to understand about what goes on behind the scenes, public-private partnerships, getting stuff to our military.
Yeah, we're the last mile logistics for fuels for our military. We do a lot of alongside refueling for aircraft on multiple bases throughout the world. You've seen those fuel trucks at an airport.
Sure.
We do that at all the military bases for fighters and our other larger logistics stuff.
So let me ask you, how does that work? You guys are a private contractor. Now we're in a wartime footing.
That's right.
Have you seen an increase in activity, or do you have to scale up your operations? What's going on?
Yeah, we have seen a large increase of activity, especially in Europe, supporting moving assets towards the Middle East. We're also out at LUD as well. So.
Oh, okay. Wow.
Yeah. So
So
that way.
So what would be an allergy? Is it trucks you provide, storage facility? What is it that you're providing there?
We actually provide the entire food hydrant system for the entire base. So we built that, we operate it, and we also refuel.
And you're only dealing like JP5, jet fuel?
That's
all right, wonderful. Where can our viewers follow your company?
You can find us online at maytagaircraft.com. That's where we're mostly located, or you can hit us up on LinkedIn.
All right, I appreciate you coming on. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
So Matt, tell us about some of the equipment that you guys use in the field.
Absolutely. So the equipment we're demonstrating here at the Worldwide Energy Conference is the culmination of many years' worth of work in developing a Ford test kit. So this is the PEAK, stands for Petroleum Expeditionary Analysis Kit. And this is the Marine PEAK kit, which consists of 6 pieces of equipment for advanced fuels testing. So the primary piece of equipment here is we have the laser particle counter. So this is actually taking 80 milliliters of sample and providing an immediate cleanliness report in terms of solid. We have a flashpoint tester, which is ensuring that the fuel is actually meeting its specification for flashpoint for naval fuels, JP5. We have a device which will measure the free water content of jet fuel and reporting a ppm value. We have a density meter, which measures the density of the fuel. We have a device called a refractometer that will actually measure the FSII, fuel system icing inhibitor contents. And then finally, we also have the conductivity stick, which measures the conductivity value of the fuel. And this is all designed in a case that can be run from the case with its power supplies.
And
with all the consumables as well.
So do all the branches of the military use a system
At this
like
moment in time, the contracts have been awarded for the US Marines and also the US Army.
And what do we have over here?
So this is exactly the same kit, except because the Army does not need flashpoint, we don't have that large.
And what's flashpoint?
So flashpoint is actually a device that measures the point at which you get volatile gases, which can then combust. So for fuels on board aircraft carriers, for example, they must have a high flashpoint.
Yeah, because the JP5 and
exactly.
It's more volatile
So
versus say diesel, right?
Exactly, very much the case. There's also JP8 as well. So,
all right.
So it's the same kit, but because it's the Army, it has to be actually a light, so it's soldier deployable, hence why it's in 2 boxes. But otherwise, apart from the flashpoint, it's still got the battery capability, it's still got power capabilities with NATO, and all the items, including the high level and the individual components, have NSN numbers, so NATO stock numbers for availability in all NATO countries.
All right, great. I appreciate you educating our audience, and thank you again, man.
It's a pleasure to talk to you. Thank you very much indeed.
As countries have walked away in the past few years from the US dollar, Brazil, Russia, India, China, South Africa diversify into gold, into birch gold. And for over 5,000 years, gold has withstood inflation, geopolitical turmoil, and stock market crashes. And the great news is you can still get it. In fact, you can own gold and silver in a tax-sheltered retirement account. Birch Gold makes it easy to convert your IRA or 401k into an IRA in precious metals. And all you got to do is text the word America to 989898 to claim your free info kit on gold. With 20 years experience converting IRAs and 401ks into precious metal IRAs, Birch Gold can help you protect yourself with gold today by texting the word America to 989898 with an A+ rating with the Better Business Bureau, thousands of happy customers and countless 5-star reviews. Secure your future with gold. Start today with a free info kit. Again, there's no obligation. Check it out. Make the request. Just text the word America to 989898. We'll be back with more Breaking Point right after this.
Everybody hates Beth. She eats all the food she loves and stays slim. Kim starves herself dieting, yet still can't lose weight. Beth is full of energy. Kim always feels tired. Beth has an unfair advantage. She takes Almacet, a breakthrough health and weight loss shake that optimizes your metabolism to help you lose weight in a whole new way.
I couldn't lose weight no matter how much I exercise. I tried Almacet. I lost 26 pounds.
The reason you're having trouble losing weight could be a liver clogged with fat that's slowing your metabolism, making it very difficult to lose weight and stubborn belly fat. Almacet is a scientifically proven food supplement that uses natural amino acids and bioactive peptides to help unclog your liver and optimize your metabolism, so it's easier to lose weight.
My name is Stephanie Phillips Solar, and I'm an Almacet success story. I was able to lose 67 pounds with Almacet in roughly 7 to 8 months.
My weight is down. I feel much more energetic than I have in the past.
Over the course of time, I lost a total of 25 pounds. So thank you, Almacet.
Almacet is all natural, supports healthy blood sugar levels, and it's diabetic friendly. Some weight loss plans have you feel weak and hungry, but Almacet will renew your energy, and you can lose weight and feel great.
Almacet's unique protein can truly absorb in your body and aid with weight loss.
Studies showed Almacet helps you lose double the weight compared to other diets.
The fact is, Almacet works, and I highly recommend it.
Go to almacet.com now to get started for just $39.99. That's $4 a meal. We guarantee you can lose weight or you'll get your money back. Be like Beth and get the unfair weight loss advantage with Almacet.
At Allegiance, we do it differently. Flags 100% made in America by Americans with American materials.
We're proud to create jobs right here in South Carolina. It might not be the easiest way, but it's the right way.
We make American flags the way they should be made, where they should be made.
Join our pledge to keep the American flag truly American.
Visit showallegiance.com to get your high-quality American flag today. That's showallegiance.com.
I wasn't expecting this, but the documentary Death of Recess genuinely stopped me in my tracks. This isn't about dodgeballs and jungle gyms. It's about control. The modern American classroom didn't just happen. It was intentionally designed, standardized, and centralized. If you're a parent or plan to be, you absolutely 100% need to see this documentary.
Now streaming exclusively on Angel.
You know, Trump signed 4 executive orders for strategic energy dominance involving nuclear power and he's been pursuing, the full gamut of fossil fuels, LNG, coal plants, nuclear, and some renewables. But it's really important right now because America is poised and actually benefiting by what's going on in the Persian Gulf to a degree, outside of our farmers getting killed right now. Diammonium phosphate in fertilizer is a problem. Helium, to make semiconductors, that'll affect the U.S. purchasing market at some point. But the good side of it is that other countries are buying LNG, and I think we suspended the Jones Act, so we have ships that can leave U.S. shores not flying under U.S. flags. I believe that's a 60-day suspension. I don't know the timeline on that. But here to discuss all of these issues for strategic energy dominance, which has been a priority for the Trump administration. It's nice to see because Germany's paying 42 cents a kilowatt with their renewable grid. We pay 12 for fossil fuel production. It's going up now because of oil prices. But we have Sam Romaine. He's the chairman of the Americans for Energy Dominance. I want to welcome him to the show. How are you, Sam?
Very good. Thanks for having me with you today.
Yeah, it's great to have you. You were recommended to me to the show because of your expertise on energy and other. And I know that you started working with farmers, John Deere on precision agriculture, satellites, AI, autonomous tractors. We can get into that. The big defense budget portion, $54 billion is autonomous vehicles now. So maybe you were ahead of the curve. Tell us what's going on, Sam.
Yeah, I think your opening dialogue really nailed it. That the issue in Iran actually is really benefiting the United States oil markets in a major way. There's some downside too. It's not all upside. I mean, just today Brent hit, I think, $129. So we are going to see, like Trump said, some short-term pain, but we have destroyed, just absolutely decimated the Iranian economy. And Iran should not have a nuclear weapon. I would agree with that. But more importantly, when it comes to the energy side of the game, we are now the primary exporter of oil and natural gas in the world. And with the UAE leaving the oil cartel, also called OPEC,
we are in a really good spot to capitalize on this if we play our cards right.
Yeah. So the UAE, it's interesting that you brought that up, because now you have Iran and UAE basically out of, Iran out of commission, affects OPEC. UAE, third largest oil producer next to Iraq and Saudi Arabia, right? I believe. So you have two big countries in OPEC gone. That puts them on the defensive, doesn't it?
Well, it certainly does. And I call it cartel because quite truly, they have been fixing the oil markets longer than I've been alive, most certainly. And when you have that, like in our country here, if we had great American companies colluding behind closed doors to fix American prices against the consumer, you would see lawsuits. And yet that's okay overseas, apparently. But what I'm most excited for is that as America, we can work to decouple our energy prices, mainly our utility bill energy prices, right? We can work to decouple that from the global commodity market. And what that would do for us is allow us to sell oil and natural gas on the market when the market is at all-time high like this, because we have other sources of energy to actually fund our electric grid.
Okay, so nuclear. I talk about it a lot because I was so excited. I was on the C-17 from March Air Force Base in California with the Energy Secretary, the Undersecretary of War, Michael Duffy, and Chris Wright, the Energy Secretary. We went to Utah, to Hill Air Force Base. They delivered, I was on board with the world's first airlift of a nuclear reactor. Trump trying to get 3 of them critical testing by the 4th of July, by 250th anniversary. 10 companies, I believe, competing for those SMR, small modular reactor, 1 to 5 to 30 megawatts. They're small. You can put them all together and you can power large bases and factories and stuff. Each 5 megawatt reactor, can service 5,000 homes. And now we have fusion reactors. Which one is going to beat it to the marketplace? I think there's like a race going on. And are these things going to be in service in 2 or 3 years like Trump wants?
2 to 3 years is really hopeful. And in my opinion, the only way they can do that is through, federal expediting and federal land. The biggest problem with nuclear is truly comes down to the environmental review process, NEPA, right? And so what happens in this review process is they spend the next 20 years deciding what sage grass or what rare obscure lizard might be impacted by this nuclear reactor. But here's what we need to think about is, if we run out of energy in this country, we have much greater problems than worrying about what kind of lizard is not going to maybe exist anymore or lose its little home, right? So we need to be looking at how we streamline the permitting process. As far as who wins, I don't know who's going to win the SMR race. I'm very bullish on SMRs, and it kind of goes into my favorite saying, which is sell the commodity, build the sovereignty. There's a whole slew of energy, alternative energy, whether it's nuclear and SMRs to hydro, geothermal. I'm very bullish on residential and commercial scale utility and battery backup systems like virtual power plants. These are energy sources that you can't just load onto a ship or a barge and move overseas. So that means we're going to have to use this power here at home. But what that also does is it frees up our energy grid, which is currently powered, 40% of it is powered by natural gas. It allows us to sell those commodities overseas to nations who don't produce, who don't have good, reliable sources of these commodities. So we as a nation can capitalize on this, make a lot of money doing so, and use energy generators that we can't export, right? And the thing is these energy sources get so politicized, whether it's nuclear, which has been under scrutiny for many years, whether it's solar. But what Americans need to realize, what your listeners need to realize, is Americans invented all of it. We invented solar, we invented batteries, nuclear, hydro, wind, the oil and gas markets. American innovation is what created these technologies, and it's to our detriment that we offshored it and put the manufacturing overseas, which I think is the biggest concern with solar panels, right? But bring that home, reshore, reindustrialize America, generate our power here at home, and sell the commodity, make the money.
Yeah, I understand that solar is going to grow a little bit under the Trump administration. And, there's a lot of misconceptions about batteries. People don't want them because you can't put out the fires. They're very hard, but technology's come a long way. And we only have a couple, 1 or 2 hours of storage, if that, when, you need 24-hour combustion cycle energy and a conventional grid to guarantee energy security, but they still have a role. And I understand in California, we only have 2 minutes left, but I'll give you the final word. In California, they made like 40% of their energy was running off a battery recently. Is that correct? They made like a lot of leaps and strides.
Yeah, I don't know the exact number on what percentage it is, but you are right. The technology
in one of the grids, in one of the grids, not statewide. I'm sorry. Go on.
Right. Yeah, but the technology is here. And you hear it all the time, like, oh, batteries would be a really good thing. What's the technology there? The battery is here. Elon Musk has made an incredible product with the Powerwall. There's 100 other companies that are making incredible American-made batteries. And look, you are not going to replace baseload power with battery backup storage, but that's not the purpose of it. The purpose of it is to do what's called peak shaving. So you don't need to run these extremely expensive gas peaker plants. And look, if we can just shave the peak off of the demand curve, that's all it has to do. But also, if you live in a hurricane or electric prone high risk area like Florida, where I do, you're going to want a battery just for the hurricanes. And if you can help the grid by having one and export that to the grid at the same time, there's no loss there.
100%. I couldn't agree with you more. The solar and the battery stuff here on Long Island is to take the load off of peak demand when everybody throws on their power at once after a hurricane and everything blows up, and it does take the load off. And it's only like 10%. It's not like a big number, but it does serve a purpose. Where can our viewers follow you? And I know that you're very involved and you've been an activist in lobbying for American strategic energy dominance.
Yeah, I'm most active on X. You can find me just Sam Romain, Romain, and my organization is called American for Energy Dominance. And look, we're just advocating for common sense energy policy that threads the needle on left and right.
Okay. Well, Trump trying to achieve that on all fronts with the fossil fuel, LNG, coal, nuclear, and other, very important. And I don't think anybody can compete with us. We produce more power than most countries combined. Thank you so much, Sam Romain, for coming on.
Appreciate your time. Thank you so much.
All right. Wonderful. Yeah, a lot going on the energy front. Hopefully we can, in a week or two or three, we may have to take more measures in Iran. I think we're going to bomb again on certain targets. Let's see what goes on. I'm David Zere. You're watching Real America's Voice News. This is Breaking Point, and I have a message from Switch to USA. Hey, Maria Lynn from switch2usa.com. How are you?
I am excited to be here with you. I'm excited to let everybody know what's going on. Thank you, David.
Yeah, you're a longtime supporter of the show, and I want to make sure our audience can participate in Switch to USA. Tell us about it.
Thank you so much. We are an American-made manufacturer. We're 40 years old. We have wellness products that are not just supplements. They're cleaning and skincare and hair care. Everything is affordable. It's made in America, and it's right to your door, delivered right to your door.
Right. And what's special about Switch to USA? Made in America by American factory workers, right?
Yes, we are all American families that are supporting this mission. And the mission is to shop American. If you have any of these products in your home, then you definitely need to take a look at what we have to offer. We're helping American families make the switch back to American-made products, shoring up everything on U.S. soil.
All right. Tell our viewers how they can get involved.
Oh, please just come to our website and we'll help you. We'll take you on a tour of our website. Come to switch2usa.com.
All right, Maria Lynn, everyone loves you out there. And thank you so much.
Thank you, David. Thank you, everyone.
Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back with more Breaking Point on Real America's Voice News.
Aging isn't something that happens later. It's happening right now. We age because our cells age.
Fatty 15 helps to reverse aging on a cellular level.
And just one daily capsule has over 36 cellular benefits.
Basically acts like an armor for your cells. You should definitely try Fatty 15.
Hello, welcome to T-Town. Like men over 40 everywhere. These guys experience a drop in testosterone. Don't worry, it happens to all of us. Some guys took my advice about how to boost their testosterone, and some didn't. This guy got the message loud and clear.
That's right, Nugenix Total T2.
From the #1 selling testosterone brand at GNC comes Nugenix Total T2, a unique new formula that combines the ultimate free and total testosterone booster with a powerful nitric oxide booster that works in just 3 hours. Feel like a new man, leaner, stronger, with more energy and drive. Get your complimentary bottle by texting SURGE to 321-321.
Thanks. It'll make you feel like a new man. And by the way, she'll like it too.
You can only try before you buy with this special offer. Get your complimentary bottle now. Text SURGE to 321-321. Do it now and we'll include a bottle of new Nugenix Neurozone Brain Supplement absolutely free.
Half protection is not enough. Using just an antivirus online is also not enough. Get better protection from online threats. Get NordVPN now.
People are being given 20 days to move their savings out of bank accounts just because of their political views. In fact, a conservative billionaire in Washington, who you know very well, was forced to transfer hundreds of millions of dollars. Hi, I'm Dr. Ron Paul. If they can debank billionaires for their politics, what's stopping them from doing the same to you? This is why I've always advocated for the one asset that can't be debanked: gold. Click below for a free info kit on gold IRAs from my trusted friends at Birch Gold Group. For thousands of years, while paper currencies and banking systems failed, gold has preserved wealth. Even billionaires are learning this lesson the hard way. Don't wait for your own 20-day notice. Click below for your free info kit on gold IRAs.
Did you know that thousands of authors across the country have written books and published them with Page Publishing? If you've written a book, Page can help you through the process. We cut through the confusion of the publishing world to make it easy for you. If we decide to publish your book, your work ends and ours begins. From copy editing and proofing to typesetting and book cover art, we get you printed, distributed, and sold on Amazon, Apple iTunes, and bookstores. We'll even promote your book.
Call for your free writer's guide, 800-319-0257, or scan the QR code now.
Welcome back to Breaking Point. You're watching Real America's Voice News. I'm David Zere, and you blink, you missed 5 stories. I got one for you, though. Actually, it's several rolled up into one. Trucking, the backbone of American goods, right? Getting stuff to the marketplace, diesel prices, illegals can't read signs, killing people on our roads. Here to discuss all of that is Mike Kucharski from JKC Trucking. Mike, how have you been?
Well, how have you been? Thank you for having me on the show again.
Yeah, I love having you on because it's real. You're a real company. You're a real operator. You're not a politician, and you can tell the story about what's going on there. I wanted to get right into it because there's like 4 or 5 topics here. Tell us about Bill Paxton, Texas AG, office investigation into qualified CDL drivers and others.
Yeah, first I want to, thank Sean Duffy for closing all these CDL schools down. There were like CDL mills pushing drivers through to get them through to get on the road. And this investigation is absolutely necessary. It's about, number one, protecting the American public and restoring the trust in our industry. Let me break it down for you. You wouldn't put somebody in a cockpit of a Boeing 737 flying from New York to California if they weren't properly trained or couldn't communicate clearly or speak English. The same standard should apply on highways. Every day trucks are driving along. School buses, families, commuters, just trying to get to work and back home safely. When unqualified drivers slip through the cracks, that creates risk for our motoring public. If they have poor training or language barrier, it creates a real risk, not just for the industry, but for the Americans on the road. This kind of enforcement sends a clear message. Number one, it shows that we're looking for safety, professionalism. 3, proper training are non-negotiable. In the long run, that's good for everyone. It protects the lives and strengthens the reputation of responsible carriers and ensures our supply chain keeps moving the right way with qualified drivers behind the wheel.
Yeah, well, Secretary of Transportation Sean Duffy, I'm reading some numbers here. He removed nearly 2,000 unqualified drivers in 26 states, removed 11,500 drivers failing English standards, and shutting down 7,500 CDL training schools. Is that correct?
That is correct. So 7,500. Wow. You know what? Something must have been really wrong with those CDL schools that he closed on 7,500. They were definitely not following the rules, because shutting down 1 or 3 would be reasonable, but 7,500 is crazy number.
Wow, it is. And tell us where it stands in Texas. Where does the Bill Paxton investigation fold into this?
I mean, so Texas is kind of investigating what is happening. They are going into the CDL schools and finding out why this was happening. Because how's this? Commercial driving isn't an entry-level job. It's a skilled trade. This is a fact, and we don't treat it that way. And we're going to see problems if it's not treated that way. So what they've done is, instead of, let's say it takes 3 months to do a CDL school, they were pushing them much faster. They were saying that they don't have to speak English. They could use Spanish or whatever. I don't know all the details, but they were pushing them through just to get drivers through. I mean, honestly, they weren't even teaching them to be successful, because I feel they were just all set up to generate revenue. The more people I could fit through, the more I could make, because they knew it wasn't, I suspect, in my opinion, that they weren't going to be there forever. This was just a temporary business. And this generated a lot of these over-the-road drivers, CDL drivers that have no idea what they're doing. And you're seeing it right now, having accidents every day. They're killing people on accident, and they speak zero English, which is horrible.
Wow, that's crazy. So tell us what else you have going on there, safety and legal concerns.
I mean, this is always okay. This is always a safe. Okay, so if somebody gets a license they didn't earn, everyone else on the road is taking the risks with them, right? At the end of the day, ask yourself this: would you want somebody to cut corners in a training drivers next to a school bus with your kids on it? I know I wouldn't. I have small children. I don't want to get a call that my children has been injured or deceased in a school bus accident on the way to a field trip. No one should. I grew up in the industry. I've seen firsthand the level of skill and responsibility it takes to do the job right. Driving a commercial vehicle truck isn't something it isn't something you just pick up. It requires real training, real discipline. To give you a picture, on average, it takes 2 to 3 years to become a well-rounded truck driver. Think about it. Do you think the crew on Artemis 2 just randomly picked? Of course not. There was specialized training for specialized vehicle for a reason, and it should not be no different here, because lives on the line every single day as the trucking industry keeps American supply chain running. There's no other side to this. These schools are also taking advantage of students, charging them training that doesn't actually prepare them. That's not just unsafe, it's unfair. This is a black eye to the trucking industry. I don't blame these immigrants that are involved, even though they knew they were breaking the law. I blame these schools and the people that started them. They knew this was illegal and this shouldn't have happened, but it happened. This isn't just about getting jobs. Yeah, it's about getting trust and massive responsibility every time you're behind the wheel. Follow the money.
Okay. I guess this is Katy Perry and Blue Origin. I don't think she trained for that one. All right. So the supply chain. How long can we sustain $5, $6, $7 a gallon diesel prices? It looks like it's heading in that direction, at least temporarily. How long can you guys go, along with the other impacts, right? What's a Cadillac health plan now? $70,000 plus, for a family. How do you guys do it? How do you stay alive?
We're barely staying alive. There's two things that are happening. Number one, the fuel's very, very high. When it jumps that high, there's a lag. We do charge fuel surcharge to customers, but the problem is when the diesel jumps, I have to pay for diesel in 5 days. I don't get paid by customers in 30 days. And this fuel price pressure has intensified. Last week, I was paying $50,000 in fuel costs on top of hundreds of thousands of dollars we pay weekly to keep truckers rolling. Now that number is close to $70,000 extra on top of everything else. To put it in perspective, that's additional $300,000 a month evaporating into operation costs. With prices still nearly $2 a gallon, this is massive for the industry where we have razor thin margins. Truckers can survive high prices. What's hard to survive is uncertainty, unpredictability, is harder to manage than higher prices because you can't plan around chaos.
How many states do you operate in?
Most of them, from the Midwest to the West Coast. I think that's 19, 20 states.
So do you supply health insurance options for your drivers or the independent truckers?
No. We do have health insurance options for drivers, and they're not cheap.
So what does it cost you? There's probably a copay, but what does it cost your company roughly in the range? Was it 20, 30, 40,000 per person for a family plan?
So we pay a percentage, and the driver pays the other percentage, and that depends of what plan he takes, a single, family, or a spouse.
Because I'm just bringing it up because these unqualified drivers, they're not carrying the insurance. They probably are on Medicaid, if they're illegal or they're not following the rules. And then, you're an independent trucker or you work for a company. The burden's always on the people who do it right? And who pay
Correct.
attention to the law. And the Democrats don't care about that. They just want to turn the cities blue. So a Republican can never take control of Congress again. I mean, that was the goal of the illegal immigration, open borders, but it's got to be really tough. Tell us about how you guys are coping and whatever else you want to throw out there.
So yeah, we're struggling because since COVID, the food volumes have not come back to pre-COVID conditions. They're lower, and when they're lower, it's called volume volatility. When there's less volume, the pay is less, and it goes to the lowest bidder. On top of that, now these bad operators come in because these companies give them trucks. They're actually 1099s. If you come from another country, you made $100 a day, or let's say $20 a day, and now you're making hundreds of dollars a day as a truck driver, you're going to underbid the American truckers. And what that's happening is putting out American truckers that have been in business 20, 40, 60 years out of business because they're undercutting the market. I think the last time Duffy went on and said there might be up to 600,000 illegal drivers. That's why those numbers every day you see them, they're taking out. Yeah, it's crazy. It's unbelievable that all these states gave this, and on top of Texas doing that investigation on a school, I feel they should go through every state to check, because if it happened in Texas, I'm positive it happened in New York, because in New York you could have gotten a license that said no name given, which me and you, Dave, would probably want to sign up for those licenses. I'm positive California gave something away, and this is just by me reading what Sean Duffy is going by. I believe Washington is a player, even some here in Illinois, which is crazy because we had governors go to jail for giving out selling licenses. I thought it wouldn't happen in the state of Illinois ever again, but here we are back down that road, another black eye. But it just happened everywhere. And,
yeah. Well, I read a story about 6 months ago. A guy got pulled over. I think he might have been a trucker down in Louisiana, and his actual license was from New York, and it said no name given. That was his name in the field. How could this be?
That's a fact. When that story first surfaced, I did not believe it until they posted the license of the driver.
Yeah.
And you can Google this, and it says no name given. So obviously, when they went to the thing, when it's time to give your name, like my name is Michael, I say no name given, and they okay, no problem, no name given. It's kind of weird because what's the point of even having a license? We're doing no name given. I mean, they could have been a little bit creative. I would have chosen maybe Mickey Mouse or something, but it's just crazy. You just don't do that.
Can't write this, stuff in New York going on here. Well, there was some good economic numbers the last 2 quarters. GDP's up. Hopefully it'll offset a little bit of what's going on. Manufacturing's growing and stuff, but it's going to take a while. So I appreciate all that you guys do. And again, you're the backbone of the American consumer and industry. So thank you again. And we'll talk to you soon, Mike. I want to thank you so much for coming on last minute.
David, thank you for having me on the show, and thank you for your support.
100%. All right, everybody. When we come back, I got some great stuff ahead. Don't go anywhere. You're watching Breaking Point on Real America's Voice News. Download the Real America's Voice News app. Get your friends and your family to download the Real America's Voice News app, where it's at. Losing
Losing your hair? Tired of hiding and looking older than you really are? With Bosley, you can get your real hair back permanently. One visit, one day.
Guys, it's so easy. It takes one day, and this is my real hair.
Bosley, America's #1 hair restoration experts. Exclusive high-density Verigraft technology will give you a thick and natural hairline.
Bosley gave me back my real hair in one day.
We're giving away a free real hair starter kit and a $300 gift card to everyone who scans this QR code. Bosley has performed over 500,000 procedures for men and women and has over 40,000 5-star reviews.
I'm a medical doctor myself. If you want the best result, you go to the best place, and that's Bosley.
It's affordable, 0% interest. If I can afford it, you can afford it.
Plus, it's all backed by the Bosley Real Results Guarantee.
Dude, scan the code, get the free kit. It is easy, and it'll change your life.
Scan, call, or go to Bosley.com right now.
Hey, I'm Dr. Drupinski. I've been looking at the aging process for a long time. Fatty 15 actually slows it down. Fatty 15 comes out of Navy dolphin research. Without the C15, our cells become fragile and age and oxidize. This pushes that back. That's why I take Fatty 15.
When we started Allegiance, we were shocked to learn how many American flags are actually made overseas.
If there's one thing that deserves to be made here in America, it should start with the American flag.
At Allegiance, we do it differently. Flags 100% made in America by Americans with American materials.
Join our pledge to make the American flag truly American.
Visit showallegiance.com to get your high-quality American flag today. That's showallegiance.com.
Hello, welcome to T-Town. Like man over 40 everywhere. These guys experience a drop in testosterone. Don't worry, it happens to all of us. Some guys took my advice about how to boost their testosterone, and some didn't. This guy got the message loud and clear.
That's right, Nugenix Total T2.
From the #1 selling testosterone brand at GNC comes Nugenix Total T2, a unique new formula that combines the ultimate free and total testosterone booster with a powerful nitric oxide booster that works in just 3 hours. Feel like a new man, leaner, stronger, with more energy and drive. Get your complimentary bottle by texting SURGE to 321-321.
Thanks. It'll make you feel like a new man. And by the way, she'll like it too.
You can only try before you buy with this special offer. Get your complimentary bottle now. Text SURGE to 321-321. Do it now and we'll include a bottle of new Nugenix Neurozone Brain Supplement absolutely free.
Kevin paid off over $12,000 in credit card debt with the help of Consolidated Credit. They cut his interest rates and lowered his payments so he could pay off his debt fast. Call 800-596-8062 for a free consultation.
So much going on in Washington, D.C. Again, you blink, you miss 5-10 stories every day. Trump has everybody on their toes, that's for sure. And that's the strategy, I think. So, but a lot going on in the DOJ realm. And I want to welcome, again, the DOJ reporter for the Washington Examiner. He's on top of everything. Kalen Deese, how are you, sir?
David, thanks for having me on. Yeah, what a week it's been, right?
It's incredible. I was co-anchoring the Correspondents' Dinner from New York. My son had I had my 5th grandkid last week, so I was back in New York, and we were reporting live when the disturbance and the shots rang out, and we had correspondents on the ground, scared, hiding under tables, and and Benny Ray Harmony and Amanda Head from Just the News, who we work with for many years here at RAV, and it was a traumatic moment, but a lot has come out of this, and you've had, 2 hearings now for Cole Thomas Allen?
Yes, that's right. I went for his initial appearance on Monday, where there wasn't really a whole lot that occurred. And similar to today, there was just a detention hearing where Cole Allen was there to make the case or not make the case, as he wound up doing, basically conceding that he, for the time being, wouldn't try to fight his detention. So that was a very quick hearing that wrapped up in less than an hour today in the court. But meanwhile, sort of in the court filings on his case, there's been a bit of a little back and forth fighting going on between the government and his public defenders, because the public defenders are already sort of making the argument that they believe that there's been some inconsistencies in the messaging behind what Acting Attorney General Todd Blanche has been saying regarding the shooting that took place at the Washington Hilton. Now, I was there, and whenever I was in the room, I heard about maybe 5 or 6 loud kind of pounds, or felt like it was it was hard to describe what it was until we knew what it was. So 5 or 6 shots that I felt like I could hear coming from a nearby door or hallway area. And so we've learned since then that a Secret Service agent fired off 5 shots towards Cole Allen. None of those hit before he fell and was subsequently tackled. And initially, in the complaint that was filed, we saw that that an agent sort of swore that the agent that drew his gun and started firing was hit by bullet fire, and that's been sort of the messaging from the government, is that a Secret Service agent was wounded, shot in the bulletproof vest, and simultaneously, the government is saying that Cole Allen fired his 12 gauge at some point, saying that there's evidence that there is pieces from the buckshot or whatever the bullet or the shell material was inside the shell was found on the premises, but they're not necessarily connecting the two events together. They're not making a direct connection in court filings that the agent that was shot by Cole Allen. They are saying that he shot his 12 gauge in the direction of the agent, but they're not making the specific direct connection. Now, why does this even matter? Well, in terms of getting the story straight, we want to know where the bullet came from, regardless of the fact that Cole Allen did something disgraceful, allegedly the suspect did. But furthermore, it's important for just getting the facts of the story straight to figure out, did Secret Service, did they have a good handling of this? And I've spoken to former law enforcement experts, people who are in the FBI, who say, it's not uncommon in situations like this where there's so many close quarters, friendlies, different officers, that there is a chance for, crossfire incidents to happen where there could be a friendly fire incident. That does not in any way sort of weaken or diminish the case against Cole Allen, but it would be nice for us to get some more answers. And so we're waiting on that ballistics right now to find out more about that. But for now, his public defenders seem to be saying that the government, they think, are making inconsistent statements and need to clarify where that bullet came from that struck the Secret Service officer.
I've covered hundreds of Trump events for RAV over the years. And, it's common that, the doors are locked to the venue. He didn't even get close to getting in there. He probably couldn't get inside, even if he did get to a point where he was at the doors to the ballroom. But, it's not uncommon to have security set up at a certain point, but you think they're going to change that whole dynamic and have security on the perimeter now, for everybody entering or egressing?
I mean, something's got to change, David. It's just, it's unconscionable, I think, to really even hold an event like that. And it's quite a shame, too, because it's a nice ballroom. But when it comes to the particular figures that you're going to have in attendance at these types of events, I don't think that you can ever have another high volume VIP event where all these different figures from the administration were there. I mean, cabinet. I got a front row. I got a front row seat to their evacuation maneuvers. I was just watching one by one. Doug Burgum, Lee Zeldin, Janine Pirro, they were all following the same track pattern to get out of that building whenever everything was, made secure. And that was definitely something I think that from a, OPSEC, perspective, I just don't know how they're ever going to be able to have something with that amount of VIPs in the same room again at that specific location.
It's a different world. It's a different world. All right, really quick, maybe another indictment coming down for Comey? Yeah,
so we learned this week that there's a 2-count indictment against Comey. That's obviously everyone's heard. about the Instagram post that he made where he's being described as making a direct threat against President Donald Trump. Now, this is something we all had our reactions to last summer, and people are having their say about what they feel about this case today. But what we did learn from a Bloomberg report earlier, I got to give a shout out to Ben Penn for the good reporting that he was doing on that case. But we have heard that there is apparently in the works another Comey indictment that's planned surrounding alleged transfer of classified information that is, I would say, similar in nature to the original indictment that we saw brought against James Comey last September. Of course, that one got dismissed because the judge found that Lindsay Halligan was improperly appointed. Right. But it seems that, according to this reporting, that there is investigation, and there's also been some meetings recently about trying to revive a case involving Comey and his alleged threat of classified information. So that is definitely a live matter at this time. And David, I'll add to this, that there have been subpoenas in that case that we know is happening down in South Florida involving John Brennan as well. So there is also potentially another track for Comey to have an investigation of another potential indictment down the line. That one's just so opaque. We really don't know too much about what's happening in South Florida. The
original grand jury indictment was a little weak, right? It wasn't an overwhelming majority. So I would think by bringing the 86, 47 thing forward, they would have to have something behind it, because I don't think that's going to really go anywhere, in my opinion. We'll see. All right. ATF, gun rights. We have about 3 minutes. Second Amendment regulations, Second Amendment helping gun owners, right? New stuff going on with the ATF.
Yeah, so we have a new head right now, Robert Cicada, who's going to be leading the ATF. There was a ceremony yesterday, and there was a little bit of an event that was previewing some of the things that the ATF is going to be doing in the next several weeks and months down the line to try to make any Second Amendment lovers, any gun owners who love to have different, things like different attachments for their guns, that previously under the Biden administration, there's been really an attack on, different types of attachments like bump stocks, pistol grips, extended mags, things like that. Well, the ATF now under this direction is going to be doing more to try to ease back some of these longstanding regulations that have been plaguing, I would say, law-abiding gun owners the most, because unfortunately, when it comes to having this type of hobby, you really do have to have a pretty clear understanding of not just your own state's laws, but what are the federal laws, what are the federal ATF regulations over some of these attachments. So the Trump administration is going to be working very hard. According to Blanche at this press conference, he was saying that they're going to be making this a priority to try to make law-abiding gun owners less uneasy about maybe trying to have additional attachments for things like their firearms. So for those of you out there that might be one of those types of people who is an enthusiast, I think it's definitely a positive sign and positive direction the administration's going on this issue.
Yeah. Kash Patel, we have about less than a minute. You think his defamation lawsuit's going to go anywhere?
Well, he's been successful in the past with some of his previous claims. He was successful on a case he brought against a blogger. Now, I will say, there was that snafu that happened in the press conference with him. I will say that I do think that the NBC reporter was conflating some things, because he kept characterizing Kash's incident as being locked out of his FBI accounts, whereas Kash's own counsel says that there was a bit of a routine technical problem that was happening with him. So the Atlantic article tried to make it seem like Kash really thought that maybe he had been locked out. Maybe he was fearing that he wouldn't be no longer the FBI director, things of that sort. So they're disputing that characterization. So, these things take time and they progress. And, there's a high standard for, things like, defamation and libel when it comes to media reporting. So I wouldn't be surprised, if there's, efforts to try to get this thrown out from the Atlantic. And obviously, there's a chance that the standard might not go in the director's favor. So it all remains to be seen at this time. But obviously, Cash is still in his job, so we'll see how it goes for him the rest of this year.
Kaylin, really quick, where can our viewers follow you? 10 seconds.
You can follow me, Kaylin DC, on X. Thank you so much.
Always the latest and greatest. Kaylin Deese, Washington Examiner, DOJ reporter. Thank you. And everybody, we'll see you next time. Thanks for watching Breaking Point. I'm David Zere.
Hey folks, it's your friend John Rich. I co-founded Old Glory Bank because we heard too many stories about people getting canceled by their bank because they didn't agree with their politics. The government wanted to know where you shopped. If you bought a Bible or you shopped at a sporting goods store, you're probably on a list. We created Old Glory Bank because America needed a bank that would protect their privacy and security. Exercising your constitutional rights is not a criminal activity, and neither is loving your country. At Old Glory Bank, we stand with you.
Hundreds of thousands of innocent children are being trafficked every year right here in the United States, and there's no greater crime against humanity. For years, Angel has been one of the few studios willing to shine a light in this darkness and demand that the world pay attention. Their new film, Still Hope, tells the true story of a young girl who was trafficked, rescued, and then faced something most people never think about: the long, painful road to healing. Most of us saw The Sound of Freedom and felt that outrage, but Still Hope asks the next question: what happens after the rescue? Because saving a child is just the beginning. Rebuilding their life, restoring their innocence, helping them find peace after unimaginable trauma. That's the battle that comes next. Stream Still Hope on Angel today. Share it with your friends and family. Let's make sure these children's stories are told so healing, hope, and change can follow.
I wasn't expecting this, but the documentary Death of Recess genuinely stopped me in my tracks. This isn't about dodgeballs and jungle gyms. It's about control. The modern American classroom didn't just happen. It was intentionally designed, standardized, and centralized. If you're a parent or plan to be, you absolutely